Alright guys, we are finally here with the first game of the Sunday Semi-Pro Cup Series. This is again for $100, hosted by NADota.com. We have the first round, and it is not Iron Man, it is FTR versus the Uprising. And as always, I'll be joined with Nizcast to give you guys some insight in the draft and the game. And I'm excited for this first match. Hello Niz, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was a little frantic getting prepared for everything tonight, but I got everything squared away, and I think we're good to go.
Alright, well I just gotta fix one more setting, so when I Alt-Tab out of game to click out of all of those windows, it will play you guys sound still. Anyways, the draft has gotten underway, and we really haven't seen anything too interesting out of the norm. Again, these are two teams that are obviously relatively less known compared to other teams. So this should be a very exciting match. There is a lot of teams. We could talk a little bit about the tournament right now. There's 78 teams, as Sharktopus confirmed in the IRC, signed up for this week. And at least 8 of them are NA qualifiers, and also the remainders of, Team E-Hug have come back together in some form and are playing under an I'm a Sheep Sucks stack. So it's pretty stacked, and honestly we're going to be having some really exciting games later on if that's what you're looking for. But right now, I think it's still going to be very exciting. I think it's still going to be awesome. Who knows how far one of these teams could go. Could be their week, because we never cover everyone in a SCS tournament. And
yeah, but this tournament's all about, you know, getting into the competitive scene, getting out there, playing a bunch of games, and you know the tournament always runs really smoothly. And that's actually why we like to. Well, part of the tournament is, yeah, there's $100 on the line, but a lot of it's about bragging rights.
Right.
You know, that team that can go out and win SCS on Sunday or Thursday. It's all about bragging rights and getting your team known and getting yourself known as a player to the community and to the loyal fan base. But yeah, we always like to in the first couple rounds pick up a team that maybe we don't know or we don't recognize, and maybe other people may not recognize, so that these teams get in the spotlight and people can start knowing them. So in the future, when they become even better and maybe pushing towards the semifinals or finals, or maybe even one of these teams will make it to the finals tonight, that remains to be seen. But yeah, just kind of introducing it to everyone, and hopefully we get a good game today.
yeah, no, I'm already quite a bit excited. From the Dire side, that is FTR. Not sure what that stands for. Lycan and Shadow Shaman, really strong push, a very classic combo in the current scene, and Viper and Bristleback going to be picked up by the Uprising. I personally love Bristleback. I think he's one of the strongest, I guess, front-running heroes that's out there. And if you go back a long time in the Dota scene, there was a time in the Chinese scene where he was literally first ban, first pick in Dota 1, just because of his insane tank ability. And you can't really kill him, because by killing him you're killing your team and you're focusing him in the entire fight. It's just an awesome hero, and definitely helps with Shadow Shaman. We of course do see Tinker and then Tidehunter banned out. Invoker, also a good decision there. I think the Forge Spirits in combination with Lycan getting the Howl on the Forge Spirits as well becomes very devastating.
Yeah, your towers just completely crumble with the Howl on those Forge Spirits, and even Heroes too, right? Like the right click is just so strong. But you were talking a little bit about how you like Bristleback. I absolutely love Bristleback as well. He's a really good hero that's good at not falling behind. However, when you do fall behind, then you don't really like him, because he becomes one of the weakest heroes in the game when he's fallen behind. Well, I find at least, and it's really hard to contribute. He needs to be that little bit just kind of tankier body on the field, and when he really falls behind, he struggles to do that. But yeah, we've seen the resurgence of Lycan recently, and we're actually going to get to see him in this game. A lot of teams are really scared of playing against Lycan because his split push is just so strong, and the Uprising chose to let him through the draft. So maybe they've got something up their sleeve to deal with him. We'll have to wait and see what they've got planned.
And from FTR, I really like the Wraith King ban. It definitely goes along with what Uprising's thought process is right now. Tanky cores you don't want to focus, and if you get enough of those, you can pick relatively greedier heroes behind that. Whether it be something like a sniper, that might not happen, but something that you can just sit behind those 3 heroes and just go to town with. But also something I want to note for Lycan you bring up, and this is in high-level competitive play, maybe not as much as this tournament, but something that really good Lycan players will do, and something you guys can go do in your pubs, is Lycan is amazing at split pushing, no questions asked, but using his wolves as wards is something that really high-level players do consistently, and I think it's one of the most underspoken about aspects of Lycan because it gives you so much vision and understanding of the enemy team. You just have it follow an enemy hero or sit at a critical junction, and for almost 60 seconds you get a free invisible ward that has basically haste movement speed and 10 HP regen.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that heroes like Lycan, even if you're not doing it kind of in the invis kind of way that Lycan Wolves does, a good Furion will spread out his trees and just use those to scout out a little bit. Just a Venno, just as he's walking past a certain area of the map, throws down a ward because he knows that's an area that they'd like to see any kind of traffic. Just any hero that like that, it just gives you a kind of a free, even if it's a low duration observer ward, just gives you so much information. And especially in the case of Lycan, when that vision is essentially invisible and the enemy team doesn't know you have that vision, it gives you a huge advantage, and your team can get in a much better position. As we're seeing a lot of heroes that we haven't seen too much of recently in recent tournaments. We've seen Ember Spirit. I think we've only seen him once in total. So we're seeing him. We're seeing the Lycan. We're seeing the Bristleback. We're seeing the Pugna. Of course, we see the Skywrath. We see the Shadow Shaman. We see the Viper all the time. But now in Undying,
yeah,
I can't even remember the last time I've seen Undying played.
Since for me, it's definitely since. I mean, there are some games here or there I'm sure I've watched in the last month or two, but TI, big reminder there for Undying, as Ice played that hero quite a bit and did it. They did an offlane Undying DK that was very well, but I like what Undying brings to the Pugna push. What FTR is doing, I definitely think that they're exploiting the strengths of their mid game by picking up something like an Ember Spirit who's still highly mobile, can get a lot of the farm that they're going to get from towers and put it to good use into 1 or 2 Battle Furies, and can be very effective against what's coming out right now from the Uprising. The question becomes now, can they get to that point, or is the Uprising just going to kind of like snowball over them? Once you set up with a Bristleback, Viper, Pugna Ward, Blast, and a Tombstone, how do you engage into that? And honestly, even with the Tidehunter who's banned out, I still wouldn't want to. So you got to pick up a lot of strong split push. They have some, but basically it's going to come down to that, in my opinion, for this game. It's just really, can they hold out and deal with what's coming out from the Uprising? We do see them ban out Lion. Interesting decision, however, that gives them a ton of disable, and does also bring up the point in my mind. There is 0 stuns on the Uprising sides. However, there is a lot of slow. Just no stuns. Brewmaster is the final ban. Didn't note that at all as he gets by to the very end. Strongest competitive, well, not the strongest, but the most commonly picked, highest win rate for the percentage of picks in the competitive scene right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the most competitive hero in terms of most contested hero, I should say, in the draft and the pro scene. As we're seeing Witch Doctor pick up, which is, he's a pretty common support now. But Elder Titan, another hero that's just...
Yeah, I like him a lot.
He works really well with their lineup, though.
He does. The one thing, though, I really want to point out, too, is that one of the pitfalls that Navi came to in TI was that Elder Titan in the offlane for Dire side is very weak because he doesn't have any skills to help farm ancients, or there's no creep wave when you're Radiant, or creep camp when you're Radiant side to pull to, and so there is a potential for Elder Titan to get completely shut down. But the Witch Doctor does solve a lot of their stuns, and also once they pick up a mech, Witch Doctor heal plus mech plus Soul Rip is a crap ton of sustain, to say the least.
Here's my problem with it. You've got Elder Titan.
Hello? Okay.
Hello?
No, sorry. I'm fixing my Dota in-game mic.
Okay.
It's going weird.
So, you've got Elder Titan in the offlane. Most likely he's going to pick up boots first, as we see he does this game. But he's not really scared of dying. You've got a Witch Doctor and an Undying support on the other team. You're not really in threat of dying. The thing is that I'm pretty sure this Radiant team is actually going to go aggro trialing. So maybe they want the ET versus Bristleback matchup, even though that is Bristleback favored. But I don't know. It'll be
yeah, Yeah.
remain to be seen. But,
It'll definitely
let's,
be
let's
interesting.
introduce the teams.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and introduce the Dire as I just kind of went over here. It is FTR. For them, we have AJ, the captain, picking up Lycan. Not sure exactly which lane he's going in yet, but we have Mistmare onto the Skywrath Mage. Definitely support. We have 77273190 playing the Elder Titan. Looks like actually to be a pure off lane as he has gone boots of speed first. And we have LT picking up the support Shadow Shaman, and that of course leads Sheep716 as the Ember Spirit middle.
Alright, on the Radiant side, we have the Uprising. Firstly, we have Pugna played by Left Here Broken. We have Necrosis playing the Undying. We have Guardian on the Viper. We have Mix playing the Bristleback. And we have Love on Look at It Go, the Witch Doctor.
Well, it looks like the Uprising is going to get the lane situation that you were talking about, as my mic is still pissing me off. But yeah, it looks like they want to set up that laning situation where, of course, the Bristleback is going against Elder Titan, and that could really reward them because Bristleback does dominate a hero like Elder Titan with low armor. He also went boots first, not a stout shield, and the Bristleback does have his stout shield and an extra salve over the set of tangos that Elder Titan has.
Yeah, obviously the Uprising wasn't going for that matchup between Bristle and ET. FTR just kind of picked themselves into that, but obviously the Uprising was definitely looking to go aggro against this Lycan. As you see, Undying.
A little bit of, Undying might get caught out here. He does only have one Charge of Soul Rip. The cast does go out, bounces between those two heroes. It is only a 2-bounce. Guardian, now caught between 3 heroes of the Dire, will go ahead and back out as another Arcane Bolt snags him in the back for a little bit of more damage. So nothing too major there, but definitely a lot of consumable trades going on.
Yeah, so this Radiant side has 2 very strong harassing ranged heroes. Obviously Viper is incredible at doing it, and Witch Doctor has a great animation, long range, and good attack damage, so he's really good at harassing too. They actually don't need to trade too much like they just did. They just need to control the lane and keep Lycan back. That's the whole point of them going aggro. They want to limit what Lycan is able to achieve in this game, make sure he has a very, very slow start. You don't really have to worry too much about really winning this lane and getting Viper off the ground because you've got a favorable matchup in the bottom lane with Bristleback. He should be getting an early
middle lane we have first blood as Pugna does fall to the Ember Spirit. Great, I guess, kiting there and a little bit of baiting as he pulled him back into the tower. It activated his flame shield on that last charge of or blast, nether blast, and was able to secure the kill with the tower shots.
Well, I'm glad you caught that because I had taken a look. I saw that both the heroes were low, but I thought they were fine, so I decided to look away. But yeah, like I was saying, you're gonna have Bristleback in a favored lane bottom, maybe even looking at almost a 6-7 minute mech if he chooses to go there. That's kind of how unfavored that lane is. But yeah, middle lane, it looked like Pugna was actually doing really, really well against the Ember Spirit, and but unfortunately he has fallen. But even if they draw even in the middle lane, I think they're going to come out ahead. So yeah, it's a lot of it's kind of on this Bristleback and on the tri lane not getting too aggressive, even though they are aggressive.
Right. Well, they will throw out the stun onto AJ as well as the Maledict. They don't have too much follow up as they were not in range for the Undying Tombstone. Unfortunately, they need some kind of boots on him so he can get there quicker. But I definitely agree with you. However, if they can get aggressive and get wipes on that tri lane, that will just benefit them so much more.
Absolutely.
That's the true strength of them. But yeah, if they make a mistake and they lose 3 heroes in this aggressive tri lane, it's definitely going to go Dire favored really quickly.
But that pressure that they just put on Lycan there because the supports were off to the side and too far was really, really good. It's good to get that damage and show Lycan, you know what? Like we can put out a little bit of damage here. No, we couldn't kill you, but we're burning through your regen.
Middle lane, a little bit of action going on as we do have the bolas into the right clicks from the flame shield. It looks like Ember Spirit will choose to dive. He does lose his flame shield because of that nether blast. Great play coming out of that Pugna. However, the bottle charges as well as the fogging of both Pugna and the tower will allow Ember Spirit to get away. Getting out at I believe like 10 HP, bottling up to 180. And Rune will be spawning soon. Hopefully he'll be hoping for a regen. And I'm surprised the Bristleback in bottom hasn't gone for Nasal Goo. That's one thing I think a lot of Bristlebacks should do more often, especially when you're in a 1v1 right now. If he had Nasal Goo and was just able to get 2 or 3 stacks up and start right-clicking, at level 6 he'd be able to chomp down that Elder Titan. But we'll see. Maybe he just intends to farm a lot and push in the lane, as we do see a DD picked up for Ember Spirit, which could allow him to net that kill, as there's a lot of drawing on the map as well. I think they're aware of Ember Spirit's rotation, and he does send himself a salve, so he can be full health with just that DD and have the bottle afterwards. A little bit of a cheeky play there.
I just want to point out, nothing too surprising with the items pickups from anyone in this game so far, except for the fact that Viper's actually going for the mech. It's not going to be the Bristleback. So I wonder what they've got in plan for Bristleback getting this farm in the bottom lane. Is he actually... Wow.
Yeah, he's
I just
behind.
looked at the CS. It's actually ET who's ahead right now, 21-5 versus the 20-3.
Yeah, this Bristleback doesn't seem
That's
to be
very surprising.
punishing or using the aspects of or strengths of his hero to punish Elder Titan, whereas Elder Titan actually is playing this relatively well. He has his wand, of course, to get a lot of extra health and mana from those quill sprays, but then he also got those tranquil boots super early, so he's able to just back up and heal up when he needs to. But in top lane, we're going to see a major initiation as the Ancient Seal as well as the right clicks onto Necrosis are going to clean him up as he falls, and now AJ in the background might also fall as he's down to 9 HP. Maledict taking him out, and we do see 2 for 1 as the Rasta falls in the side shop as well. And great plays coming out of the Uprising, turning that engagement. Sure, they lost the Undying, but that's the problem of engaging into a Witch Doctor and Viper. An interesting build coming out of the Witch Doctor is he does go for 2 points in that Maledict. I guess that definitely helped net that kill, but most people would prefer the extra bounces on on the cask. Generally, that's what I do too. Though I've seen a lot of 2-1-2 before. LT rotating into the bottom lane, wants to go for this gank because he does have 2 points into sorry, 1 point into Shackles, 2 points into Ether Shock, and this will be a free kill as LT nets that with that Ether Shock. And now 4-2 as FTR has good movements around the map to make that trade more in their favor.
Yeah, that was very good by LT. Yeah, you died, but use the fact that, people know that you're missing, but it's understandable if maybe it's taking you a little bit longer to get back to lane. And instead, he used that time to just go bottom and get a gank. So that was...
Did you see the kill on Pugna? As
No,
actually, he might go down again here. We do have Ember Spirit with the Invis as well as the Flame Shield active. We do see him throwing down that Nether Ward, but Ross is there doing enough damage to clean that up, using his Hex to help out Ember Spirit there. And a little bit, again, of a cheeky play coming out of Ember Spirit, using that Invis to help him get some extra damage where Pugna wasn't quite expecting it.
Yeah, I don't really know that middle matchup, but it is going as I would have expected. Obviously, there was a little bit of help from LT and some runes that is helping Ember Spirit, but I imagine this lane to be Ember Spirit favored, and Sheep is playing that really, really well. As Undying is now the new challenger as he comes to the middle lane.
Yeah, and Pugna is going to need to figure something out quick. Looks like they're going to rotate him to top with 2 points in Ward, 3 points in Blast. Also, I'd like to point out we now have 3 points in Maledict from Witch Doctor, so I'm beginning to think a little bit more questionable. You could call that overcritical, however. It's definitely interesting. But yeah, LT is smoked up off to the right side, does have that boots and 3 points in Ether Shock. He is now aware of the Pugna due to that smoke, but Necrosis as well as in this lane. They throw out the cask. It is a good double bounce, getting the 3 points of Maledict onto AJ. The question is, do they have enough follow-up damage with the poison attack from Witch Doctor as well as that Pugna Ward? It's going to start doing a ton of damage. AJ should fall to the tertiary tick, or the final tick of this Maledict, and he does, as that's a 1-for-1 trade carry for support. Mist Mare down to 200 HP. Gonna back up here as we do see a rotation in the back from Ember. He does have Flame Spear or Flame Shield up, Flame Guard, as he will clean up the Witch Doctor, not even needing to use the bolas yet. So he has those bolas up, does get a great double bola onto the Viper as he gets cleaned up, and now Pugna as well gonna run away, but gets cleaned up by one right click. Necrosis tries to TP back in and turn this around, but unfortunately does not have anything to clean up that Flame Guard and will get cleaned up by Shadow Shaman using that Ether Shock. 4 unanswered kills, and now 10-3 as FTR just playing much stronger with their heroes. And honestly, great rotation from that Ember Spirit. That fight may not have gone that way if Ember Spirit did not make that quick rotation with it wasn't even with a rune. It was just like, hey, there's no one in my lane, I could farm now, but I'm gonna go help my team.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge swing for this game. You're talking a little bit about Maledict and not really liking them leveling it up first and having preference over the cask, but I actually feel that they need that in this tri-lane. They need that sort of damage to bring down the Lycan, and as you saw there, Lycan was able to drop fairly easily. Obviously, Undying had to trade himself for that. But yeah, I think they maybe just got a little overzealous and didn't really notice that the Ember Spirit had left mid and made his rotation up, as they did have a ward that actually spotted him on his way up. But yeah, then it just kind of middle.
Yep, middle.
It just
It's
kind
going to
of
be a kill. Sorry,
unfortunately
I'm going to miss
spiraled out
that
of
as Ember Spirit does go down. Or Ember Spirit sorry, goes down. He gets the kill on the Pugna again, as that's going to bring the scoreboard 11-3. Looks like the DD Bristleback is going to be chased off here by a solo Shadow Shaman. He's going to turn it around with the shackles. After the duration, though, there's nothing to follow up here. We do see actually the concussive shot and the ward trap from Pugna, or not from Pugna, from Rasta. Excellently played there. Sorry guys, I'm getting thrown off because I think my Dota 2 or my Dota TV audio is maybe constantly going, maybe background noise. I don't know. If any of you guys could let me know in the Twitch chat, that'd be super helpful. Looks like the Ember Spirit is going to dive on to Witch Doctor. Concussive shot does go on to him as we see the bolas into Mystic Flare. Cleaning up the Pugna very quickly there is Mist Mare, and his Ember Spirit friend will get out. Meanwhile, top lane, T1 tower taking a lot of damage, down to about 400 HP, but however, with the teleportation of ET and the support of Lycan already there, it's going to be defended, sitting at 360 HP. And honestly, no tower is down yet, but that's a really bad side for the Uprising. Their strategy truly does rely on taking down towers early.
Yeah. Mightmare and LT on the two supports on this dire side on FTR have done a terrific job of bringing their team back in this game and really making good on some rotations and getting some kills. He's starting to feel for Left Here Broken on the Pugna, as he's now has 6 deaths. But the Uprising does have an advantage. Viper has finished his mech, and there is no mech on the side of FTR yet. ET's the one building towards that, because he's still a few hundred gold away from that. But
it looks like about 800 after he purchases up that headdress. But they are going to go ahead and back up from this push, and now maybe Uprising could honestly take a tower here with the TP out of Rasta. That's a lot of counter push with between the Aethershock and obviously counter engage and control. So maybe this could be the first tower of the game. The wards are on cooldown, will be coming up, so it looks like they're going to go for a trade for 2 towers here. As the Uprising sets up to siege in the top lane, Pugna Blast will drop this down immediately. They will use the Tombstone. Maybe not needed there, as that tower is cleaned up pretty quickly. Ember Spirit not able to get too much damage done to middle right now as the creep wave is there. However, it looks like LT is just waiting for the Radiant Heroes to show, and he will throw down the wards. Also, Lycan taking opportunity during all this chaos to get Roshan. Possibly will be able to take it, as he does have Vlad's a medallion, and that's kind of like the magical threshold, where Lycan can always solo Rosh no matter what, as long as you have minimal micro with your wolves, as you see here. He'll go ahead and resummon and possibly go into ult form, but he will just go ahead and do the resummon, not even use the ult form, so they might attempt a defense middle here, as Roshan does fall. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing, like obviously, you know, Radiant may have had an idea, maybe not. But either way, they need to put some pressure on these towers. They just got a free tower tier 1 top.
So they must pop. They want to fight here. Ember Spirit Remnants into the background. The ward is not up right now for Pugna, and looks like Maledict will go on to Ember Spirit. They do throw down the Earth Splitter, doing a ton of damage, killing up 2 heroes and also helping on the 3rd as AJ gets a double kill from this fight so far. That we'll see the Mystic Flare, not the Mystic Flare, sorry, Arcane Bolt clean up the Pugna in the background. Witch Doctor will trap the Ember Spirit. However, that was just the Aegis kill, and he's coming back online with 2 Remnants, as he could use those. Looks like the Maledict will go on him. He does use the first Remnant to go onto the high ground, and he will escape there. Actually, just going to turn around and use Sleight of Fist, dealing quite a bit of damage to them, as he has some farm. Not too much, but a decent amount of farm. Is 14 minutes. Having your phase and drums is about average, I'd say, in a competitive game. And he will go ahead and Remnant in here with the Flame Guard active. Does get the double chains. Now he's going to try to Remnant out, as we do see the Mystic Flare coming down and cleaning up a lot of life on both Umix and Love. Stomp is there as well afterwards, and doesn't look like they're going to be able to re-engage here, but they're just honestly wearing out an early game sustain team in fights right now over a period of time, which is not a good sign when basically the strength of your team is getting beat at its strength.
Yeah, unfortunately the Uprising has fallen a little bit behind here. And they know that they've got to get something done as a team, and they all kind of went up on the high ground. And Sheep on this Ember Spirit did a really good job of jumping in behind, and it turned out that he and his team ended up getting 4 kills and a buyback out of the Witch Doctor, all while LT was bottom, dropping the Serpent Wards and taking the tier 1 there. So a huge swing for them, as this Ember Spirit, played by Sheep, is just being a complete pain to pretty much the entire Uprising team and keeping them all locked down in the middle lane.
And he does buy up his first Claymore. I assume that will be for the Battle Fury, as we have the Nether Ward being dropped by Pugna. Sheep is just going to go ahead and run straight in. Does get the double bolas with the Sleight of Fist, and now we get a triple stomp coming out of Elder Titan, and the cask will turn around. Mystic Flare dealing a ton of damage to Love, as they aren't quite able to connect and kill any heroes. Death Ward as well as Maledict onto Ember Spirit. Looks like it might be enough to tick him down. No, he does activate that Flame Guard and TP away, and now throws down a Remnant. We see Undying fall during this as AJ drops really low, but the Earth Splitter is going to hit on Umix, dealing a ton of damage. Guardian dropping low from the right clicks and the Arcane Bolts, and it looks like that's going to be 3 heroes down as Love is running away. Make it 4, as he's going to get stunned up here by the Witch Doctor with that Hex. Flame Guard active by the Ember Spirit, and that will be a kill. And a godlike streak for Ember Spirit as he goes 909, 3-22, as FTR takes an absolutely dominating edge in this game. They're even going to continue this as they do dive the Pugna. I'm trying to get rid of these overlays, but I'm misclicking my F keys. As Pugna falls under the gold graph that's over 15k, and they're going to go ahead and call it GG. So 15 minutes in, FTR playing an absolutely amazing game as far as what they could have done with their heroes, and with some respect due to the Uprising, some misplays from them both in the tri lane and I guess mid lane and bottom. Maybe the Bristleback could have dominated the ET more. What are your thoughts, Niz? What do you think they could have done?
Obviously, Ember Spirit, Sheep on the Ember Spirit got an even better start than he could have ever imagined. They picked up 3 kills, I believe, on the Pugna. There was, some props needs to go towards LT and Mistmare, who did some terrific rotations on the supports to create some of that space. But once Sheep got rolling on that Ember Spirit, he just got out of control, and he was just absolutely bonkers, killing everyone on Uprising. And once they fell behind, they were just struggling. It kind of, I forget whether Pugna was picked before Ember Spirit in the draft, and I think he was, so the Ember Spirit was a response. But maybe that was just something they weren't prepared for, that Pugna-Ember Spirit matchup. I never would have, I'm not a big fan of Ember Spirit, but he showed his worth that game, so just something maybe they weren't expecting, and it caught them off guard, because that was, I think, the biggest thing that influenced this game. Obviously, Bristle could have dominated a little bit more bottom. The aggro tri lane maybe could have done a little bit better as well, but I think the middle lane with Ember Spirit getting out of control is the biggest issue.
Well, I can get behind that, Niz. But that does it for us as far as the first game goes, guys. We will be getting into another one shortly in the next 3 to 5 minutes, so of course, please stay tuned. If you're enjoying this cast, you can follow on the channel below, or if you're watching through Dotive TV, please go over to the stream and follow if you want to, and also let me know if there's any issues with the Dota TV audio, because I can't get feedback from that unless you guys let me know through Twitch. Also check out, of course, Niz at Twitter at Nizcast and YouTube /Nizcast, and you can check out my YouTube at /DotaRaptors and my Twitter at DotaRaptors. But we will see you guys in the next 5 minutes. And boom.